So in this video we're going to show you how to configure your Home Assistant setup after 20 or 30 minutes of inserting your SD card that we have previously formatted in the past video in your Raspberry Pi. You should see this menu, and now we should set it up. You should give it a name. We're going to call it HowToStart with the HowToStart username, a password that you want, and then you will have to confirm the password. Then you go create account. You can call it whatever you want once again, because we're going to call it HowToStart Lab since we're going to try to mimic this location. And you should pick the location of your device, of your Raspberry Pi, because it's very important, since this gives you the correct weather info for your location. And you should also pick the correct time zone, since all the integrations that you will eventually do depend on this location and time zone. You can choose also some of the integrations that are running in your network. For example, we have an ESP device acting as a node as our temperature and humidity sensor, and you can also choose another integrations, because for example you can have a smart plug already. And now we're gonna add this node that we have discovered automatically to our home network. And since we know that we have a smart plug connected to our home network, we can go and find the correct integration, and you can see all of these integrations over here. And in this case we have a TP-Link smart plug, so we need to go onto the TP-Link Casa Smart Home, and then you set it up, and this will easily find the lamp name. In this case we have the lamp of room, and we put it all in the same area. So this is the first glance in your dashboard of the Home Assistant. You have the weather, like said before. This is given based on your location. You can do this, for example, to create an automation. If it's raining, you will not turn on your home sprinkling system, but if it's a normal day, you can turn it on. And on the left you can see the ESP node, which has a temperature sensor, a humidity sensor, and we also have the room lamp all in the same card, because we have assigned them to the living room location. We have the temperature sensor, which is the HT11, and the humidity compound from the HT11. We got a switch over here that this is from our smart plug, which turns on and off the power from that plug. This is the main thing in Home Assistant, but we'll show you a bit more of the potentialities. For example, if you, instead of having a simple card, you want to have the past values, for example in a graph, you can go to add button, and then you can have a sensor card, for example, but it's more interesting to have an history graph, which will show you all the past values and a little bit more detail about your sensors. For example, we can pick the estimated CO2 graph, and we can pick the hours that we want to see. We can also pick the refresh rate that we want to pull the values from the sensor. By default it's 1 minute. And then you pick over here, if from the available entities, all the things and all the sensors that you have available on your home network, for example. And a switch, it's something that works in a binary way. That is the case for the plug. Since in this case we're just going for the CO2, you can even put several graphs on the same graph. If you want to, for example, add the volatile organic compounds that this sensor also has, you can put both in the same card for a closer look. So this can be our air quality in room card. This is for a node that's running with ESP Home, which is an add-on that we will talk a bit about next videos, but for now we'll have this simple graph and integration. Now we're going to go a bit more about the interface. For example, we got a map to say where the location of the Home Assistant is put. You got a logbook that can show you what were the past actions, and you even have history to see the past values with each value and what happened in the past with each one of those variables. Now we're going to show you how to build a simple automation. And now you see that we are creating a new automation, which is turn on the lights at a certain time. We're going to show you how this automation works. For example, we're going to do this automation with a smart plug, and it says to turn on the bedroom lamp, and it means that it will turn on the lights. And we're going to make this automation happen at a certain time. That's why the trigger, it's the time. And we need to only do this condition if the previous state of the lamp is when it's off, for example. Because you can also do it toggle wise, and you have multiple conditions that you can put, like for example, only turning on if it's off before and if it's a certain temperature. The actions are pretty much up to you. You got all the options over here: off, on, or toggle. For example, toggle is if it's on, it turns off, and if it's off, it turns on. After this, we save the action, and then we go back to here. We got the automations, and in 5 seconds, we will see the lamp turn on. So in 5 seconds, we will see this turn on. And you can see the lights have turned on, and you also get a little notification over here when it last triggered. And now we're back, and we can see that it says when it last triggered. And of course that these automations can be a little more complex. It just depends on what are the triggers that you choose. We're going to show you more things about this Home Assistant on the next video. For example, how to build a sensor with ESP Home, for example.